So, good evening to all of you, and welcome to this February community meet organized by Harmony Meditation Center by medical experts. As you all know, that today we will be starting with a short meditation of 10-15 minutes, and then we will go to a discussion topic that many of us complain that we are not satisfied with our meditation practice. So, if we try to understand the process of meditation, it may become easier for us to answer this question. So, our discussion topic, we will take up this question and try to answer it. So, with this, let's start with our meditation practice. So, I invite all of you to today's guided meditation. Just ensure that you are sitting straight, that your back is straight, your eyes are closed, and your hands are on your lap. Just let go all the thoughts and happenings of the day. Leave behind what has happened today and connect to this present moment. If there is any discomfort in your body, just leave behind that discomfort. Try to be comfortable in your posture. And slowly preparing yourself for today's meditation practice. Just reminding yourself that meditation is giving deep rest to your body and mind. And for the next few minutes, you will be giving this rest. And at the same time, you will take this opportunity to spend some quality time with yourself. So, allowing your body and mind to relax. Just ignoring all the distractions around you. And now gently connect to your breathing. Just feeling your breaths near your nostrils. The in breath and out breath. And the sensations that they create as they pass through your nostrils. Just silently observing your breaths. And gently follow one breath after the other. And if the mind distracts, just gently bringing it back to the breathing. So, a silent observation of the breaths. Just silently go on observing your breaths. And now just take this opportunity to start observing your mind. So, whatever thoughts and feelings are arising in your mind, just silently observing them and not getting involved or entangled in those thoughts. Just a passive observation. Silently observing your mind without reacting to it. And now just taking this opportunity to connect to your consciousness, which lies beyond your body and mind, something like the infinite sky, which doesn't have an start or an end, which is always there. And maybe your body and mind are only secondary to your true nature, which is your consciousness. So just connecting to this happiness and peace which is already inside you. And you feel happy and peaceful without any external reasons because these are your true nature. So just enjoying this moment of inner happiness and inner peace as you connect deep inside yourself. And now please take your own time to slowly open your eyes as we come to the end of today's guided practice of meditation. So, just to start with the discussion, in the last one of the sessions, one of the participants asked me this question that I am practicing meditation for last few months and I'm doing it quite regularly, but somehow I feel that I'm not satisfied with my meditation practice. So, do you have any answer to this, or what is your perspective of looking into this? I think many of us who are into practice of meditation, some of us we are regular, some of us we are irregular in the practice of meditation. And for some, this practice is of a few months. For some, it is maybe of few years. So it depends. But maybe we have some expectations from this practice, that we are devoting some time for this as well as some effort towards this. And our minds have their own expectations or own images, that how what I should be getting from this. So at some point of time, the mind is always telling us that maybe the amount of time and practice and the effort what is being put into this, maybe I'm not satisfied with what the results are happening. To answer these questions, I think we need a little deeper understanding of the process of meditation. Once we understand what is actually happening and what are the things to expect and how the things go on as we follow this path, it becomes much easier for us to get our answers. Okay. So I think many of you who have joined today or who are watching this have this question, or you have been into this path, or you are trying in your own ways, in some ways you are trying to practice it, and maybe somewhere in your minds you think that uh, there is a sense of dissatisfaction. Okay, so let's try to answer this with a deeper understanding of the whole thing. So please, first you need to understand that meditation is not about stopping thoughts. We are mostly talking about mindfulness meditation. So in mindfulness meditation, you need to understand that if you are thinking in terms of thoughts, so your expectations are a little different. So what happens that suppose you sit for a formal meditation practice. We just did a formal practice of around 15 minutes at the start of the session. And when you sit, what will happen? So you will see your mind start buzzing like a bee in most of the times. So all the thoughts of the day and all the happenings of the life will start coming to your mind. And you will feel like so many important things or leftover things are coming to your mind, so many commitments which has not been fulfilled and you need to do it very early or just now comes to your mind that these things I have forgotten. And as you try to sit silent with yourself, so all these types of thoughts are going to come to your mind. And maybe after some time, as this goes on, you get a little irritated with yourself, because when you sit for your formal practice of meditation, you will see that more amount of thoughts are there. And it may so happen that after a period of practice, you don't see the number of thoughts decreasing. Maybe it can decrease with a prolonged practice. You will see that they have decreased, or it may not. So, whenever you sit, you find it quite distressing or irritating that the thoughts are coming, and you think that by this time of my practice or the length of practice I have done, it can be a few months to a few years. So by this time, the number of thoughts should have decreased to a greater extent. Now, this expectation is a little problematic, or this expectation actually reflects your little misunderstanding of the process of meditation. Please try to understand it, that why it is so. You see, our minds are just like mirrors. So, what does a mirror do? A mirror reflects. So, what does your mind do? Your mind reflects your life. So, I think most of us, or almost all of us, are running in our lives. We are so busy in our lives. We are running or chasing our desires and our commitments. So we are running pillar to post to just satisfy our desires, our different commitments which are there in our life. And if this life gets reflected in a mirror, what would it be like? It would be just like the mind you have. So the mind is just reflecting your activities of your life, and thousands of thoughts are just popping up from different directions. So there is no disparity. So what you do in your life is just getting reflected in your mind. And most of us, when we do things in our life, you will see that we get very involved in those things, or a better word would be attached to those things. It can be your profession, it can be your family, it can be the health issues, it can be your relationship, it can be anything. You will see there is a very strong attachment to each and everything, even with those things which even don't require your attachment or your reaction. So, more you get involved or attached to those things, obviously, they would create a deeper impression in your mind. So, now comes the answer to this question. So, if you are genuinely thinking of having very less thoughts in your mind, or you are just trying to have a mind which is marked by almost absence of any thoughts, or very few thoughts come to bother you, and maybe when you practice sit for meditation, hardly thoughts come to your mind. If you are desiring this state of the mind during your practice, it's very important that you start looking into your life, the quality of life which you are leading. And it is not always such that many of you must be thinking that uh, we are not into direct professional lives in that way. Maybe some of you are retired, or maybe some of you don't have that extreme level of professional duties or something. But just look at your attachment with the things that is happening. So even if it is not profession, whatever you do, there must be certain activities which you are doing as a human being, and you will find that you are very much attached to those things. And the more you remain attached to the things, the more is your involvement with those things, the more is the amount of thoughts that are coming, that should be coming to your mind. It is very simple. Now, some of you will be asking me that how can I excel in my work or in my activity uh, without attachment to that activity. So, this is again another misunderstanding. So, your activity or whatever you do, and if it demands your presence, that is a very different thing from attachment. So you can be present in your work, you can be just achieving the things or some quality that is needed from your work. There is no problem with that. Attachment is a different thing, it is a mental thing. You are somehow much overthinking about each and every aspect of whatever thing you are doing. It can be your profession, it can be your relationship, it doesn't matter. Okay. So you need to cut off the attachment. Still, you can be present in your work and you can excel in your work. It doesn't say that you don't have being detached. The quality of the work is not going to decrease. Even it can be even better. So if you can do something detached and be present, so that can be a very beautiful way of doing things. Just being present in that moment and doing that work without your mental attachment to that work, it can be even better. Okay. So once you stop mentally attaching through things or through activities of your life, obviously their mental impressions will be lesser. And as you move on in your life, or as you sit with your minds, or start with formal practices of meditation, so obviously, as the impressions are going to be diluted, so the number of thoughts that is generated during your formal practice of meditation is going to be lesser. I think this is clear. So it is the mind, please remember, the mind is just a mirror. The mind itself, it cannot produce something. A mirror cannot show something which is not there. It can only reflect things. Similarly, your mind just reflects your life. So if you are having lots of thoughts and you are totally puzzled that during my meditation practice, why this is happening, my humble suggestion will be to look into your life and understand how it is going. Because for most of us, we don't understand that what is happening in our life. We are just in a sort of trance state and we are just running through it without understanding that how the things are going on and what is going on in our life. So you are just chasing something and you are just running. You will see people around you are also running and you are also running in this sort of race or something like that. And all the people who are running doesn't know that why they are running the race. So it is important, if you are having a lot of thoughts during your practice, to look deeply into your lives, and the clue is out there. The clue is there in the activities you are doing, and what is happening to your mind, how what is the amount of attachment when you are doing the activities or you are leading your life. So as you observe these things, you will start understanding that why you are having so much loads of thoughts in your mind. Okay. Now, the next important thing, uh, I would like to mention that meditation is not about believing in a body mind complex. So many of you, I think, must be thinking that what is this? What is this talking about? So let me explain this. So we think that we have a physical body, and we have something called as the mind. Many people are there who think that they are only bodies, and the mind is something we are not sure about, or what is the nature of the mind, or it is something abstract. But most people believe that we have a body which we call as the hardware, and within this hardware there is a software which we called as the mind. Now let's look a little deeper into this. The WHO, World Health Organization, it thinks that for our health, to make a person healthy, there has to be three important dimensions. What are those? One is the physical dimension, one is the mental dimension, and another is the social dimension. So, to be healthy, just think that your body has to be healthy. So, if your body is suffering from a major disease, so you cannot be called as healthy. So, you become diseased. Again, similar thing with your mind. So, your mind again has to be healthy, that the software has to be healthy, that it should not be too much stressed, or it is facing too much problems or getting too much bothered. Then obviously, or if you are suffering from thought patterns which are diseased in that sense, then you cannot be having a healthy mind. So then also you are diseased. So the body, the physical dimension has to be healthy, the mental dimension has to be healthy, and the social dimension. So you have no problem with mixing with your fellow beings, because this is another dimension which is equally important. None of us in this modern life, we cannot just live by living alone. So there has to be some social interactions, and that also has to be healthy. So if these three dimensions of a human life, if these things are healthy, we can call, or WHO calls that person to be healthy. Okay, fine. Now, WHO for last few years, they are thinking that only these three dimensions are not enough. They are thinking of accommodating a fourth dimension, and that is called as spirituality. So now it is not this only these three things. They are thinking of the fourth dimension, and they are thinking that this person has to be also spiritually healthy. Okay, and they are thinking of adding this dimension to their definition of health. Now, this thing is very interesting. So, this is how a modern man or a human being who is so called scientific, or who can be just looking at life, is thinking of these dimensions. When I started with meditation, I started with mindfulness and this journey, I think many of the people who are into this path or who are sincerely trying to follow this path, they will agree with me that we always felt that spirituality is something which is driving the other dimensions, and it is a very important dimension. We very recently we did a research work with this. So many of you who come to us and who does our spirituality courses, we have collected some data from them. Many of you can remember those things also. Before starting the course, we take some questionnaire from you, tell you to answer those, and at the end of the sessions, we tell you again to fill up those questionnaires. And we have tried to do a research with this, and just 2 days back, that research has got published. It is not yet published. It is being accepted in a very famous medical journal, where we are trying to say that the well-being of a human being depends not only on the physical well-being, not only on the mental well-being or the social well-being, not on these only three components, but the fourth component, that is spirituality. So, spirituality is a very important component in our health, which most of us doesn't recognize. And now, for the last few years, WHO is thinking about this. So it is very nice that they have started looking into this component. And maybe after a few years, this will come officially as a important component in our existence. Okay. So your well-being is not only depending on your body mind complex or your physical well-being or mental well-being. Something is governing it, and that component, many of us, we are missing in our lives, that is spirituality. Okay, so why this idea came, just a few words about this, because this is how our science looks into this, or as a scientific person you would be looking at your life. If you look into spirituality, if you look into meditation, if you look into this subjects of mindfulness and others, they have a different way of looking into life, which is very, very different from this modern scientific way, because these are all ancient sciences, or they have their roots based on this ancient teachings, and these teachings are very different from our modern teachings. So they believe that your body and your mind, it doesn't exist independently. It exists with something called as spirit, and from it comes the word spirituality. So the complex is not a body mind complex. The complex is a body mind spirit complex where the spirit is the most important thing and the body and mind are secondary components. So here you see slowly the modern ideas, slowly the modern understanding is somewhere meeting the ancient teachings and understandings. The ancient teachings has always been reverse, and all the focus has been onto something which is called as the spirit, in which the body and the mind exists. Okay, now if you look into the practice of meditation, coming directly to our question. So here all the practices, all the schools of meditation are actually trying to get into the spirit component. Okay, trying to rest in the consciousness or the awareness, trying to connect with something which is beyond the body and mind and which is just there, which doesn't have a start or an end. Okay. So it is something which is beyond our body and mind, and the processes of meditation are trying to connect to it. So if you believe, which is quite natural, that I am a body mind thing, so obviously your mind is going to tell you something which we called as mind movies. And if you try to understand your life from this body mind complex, your understanding is going to be wrong. Okay? And meditation is nothing to do with this body mind complex. You are thinking that, okay, I will do meditation for to just do something with my mind. That is partially true. That is not wholly true. All the processes of meditation are different methods of connecting to the spirit, which is your true nature, where the body and minds are secondary components. So, obviously, you will get disappointed with your ideas of meditation and what you are achieving through this process of meditation, because they are only taking into consideration your body and mind. They are not considering the actual thing, the spirit. Okay. So this may appear very, maybe many of you may be hearing it for the first time, or you are just trying to understand it for the first time. So the things may appear a little complicated, but this is what the spiritual teachings are all about. So I would just request all of you to connect to whatever teachings or whatever exposure you have about spirituality. I'm talking about Eastern spirituality. And you will see that all the spiritual masters or the teachers are always talking about something, and sometimes to the common people they appear as madman or persons who have gone out of head, or they speak of certain things which doesn't make any direct sense to you. So they appear as very bizarre people talking about different things. Actually, they are talking about something which is beyond your body and mind, and they are all requesting you to align your life as per this presence of this consciousness or something. There are different terms used which make the things more confusing, but something which is beyond your body mind complex. And whenever you act from this body mind complex, which I'm sure almost all of you are acting in your normal life, and you are trying to get certain things or achieve certain things In this complex, the things will not match, because these things are not going to match, because the whole purpose of the thing, whole purpose of meditation is very, very different. All the schools of meditation are aiming to align this body mind complex to something which is greater than the body mind, which we called as consciousness, or whatever name you say. Okay. So if you are thinking that I have a mind and I want to just tame the mind or calm the mind, so obviously that understanding is not enough. That understanding has its own problems, and obviously it may not match your expectations. And coming to this point, that meditation is not about creating calm. So many of us, we think, and when we start with meditation, sometimes we also say this, that why are you starting with meditation? Because you want a calm and peaceful state of the mind. Okay. I think most of us, we think of meditation like this way. We want a calm and peaceful state of the mind. But if you look from the perspective of meditation, it is just the opposite. You cannot create something artificial. This is the biggest teaching of meditation. You cannot create an artificial environment which is artificially calm and peaceful. But many of us, or most of us, we are just trying to do that. That, okay, my life is totally chaotic, everything is total chaos, everything is going in disorder, but for a 5 minutes time, for a 20 minutes time, I am trying to create a calm peace in that chaos, and then again the chaos is flowing. So let it be chaos, let it be disordered. Just I'm trying to create a 15-20 minutes of a space which is calm. So this understanding is a misunderstanding. Meditation is not trying to create a calm. It is trying to reveal something which is inside yourself. So you are unleashing something inside yourself which is already there. It is not that you are creating something or you are trying to create something. If you remember that mirror, so if your mind is a mirror, and the mirror, over the mirror, there has been a few layers of dirt. So obviously the mirror is not reflecting well, or it is unable to reflect whatever is being shown to it because of that multiple layers of dirt. So what do? You buy a new mirror. So here this is not possible even. So you don't have the money to buy a new mirror. So what do? You clear the layers of dirt so the original mirror appears. And once the original mirror appears, it can reflect things, or it can function for what it is meant for. The same is with our practices of meditation. And I think many of you can recall that there are a number of meditation practices. Something which we call as formal practice, when we sit and maybe for a period of time and do the meditations. Informal practice throughout the day, whenever we have a little time just practicing this. We have activities. Suppose some activity you are doing, you put your mind on that activity, you practice mindfulness on that. So, mindfulness activities. Then we have introspection, where we practice different virtues or we observe our mind throughout the day. So, you see, these are different types of practices, and these are different components of practice. So, when you have your lunch, you have rice or you have roti. Along with it, you have sabji, you have dal, okay, and at the end, maybe you have a sweet or something like that. So, these are different things which make your meal. It is not that only rice, if I just offer you only rice or only a chapati, it is difficult for you to have the meal, or does it even qualify as a meal? So these are the different components of the meal. Similarly, you will see the formal, informal, activity, introspection, all these are trying to clear that mirror. Because the thing which you are trying to create artificially, the calm state of the mind or the peaceful state of the mind, as per the teachings of meditation, they are already inside you. The happiness, the peace you are searching for, they are already inside you. They are your true nature. So if you remember, just before starting to understand this point, I told that as per the teachings of meditation, we are not body mind complexes, we are body mind spirit complexes. So it is the nature of your spirit, this happiness, peace, love. This is what your spirit is made of, or your consciousness is made of. The problem is that you are not recognizing it because of something called as the mind, which is so called polluted or dirty. Just like the mirror over which a few layers of dirt are there. So you have to remove that dirt to see the mirror again. Okay? And you will require a cloth or maybe a little bit of water or some other cleaning substances to clear that mirror. The same thing is happening with the practices of meditation. That cloth, that cleansing substance, that water or other things are your formal practice, your informal practice, your introspection and activities, whatever you are trying to do. They are only trying to clear your mind, which is the pollutant, and because of which you are unable to understand that your true nature is a spirit. Because if there is dirt over that mirror, few layers of dirt, so if a child comes in front of the mirror and the mirror doesn't reflect, so obviously that child will question that, is this a mirror? Just imagine that a child has gone to a room and that room has been not been opened for 15-20 years. Okay. So there has been multiple layers of dirt over that mirror. And that mirror has lost its actual quality of reflection. So the child looks into the mirror and there is no reflection. So obviously there is a question, there is a doubt that whether this thing is actually a mirror or it is just a thing. The same problem with us. We have the true nature of our existence Because of this dirt and the complexity of the mind, it has got totally lost. We are unable to connect to it. And that's why we are doubtful that whether it actually exists or not. And the whole process of meditation are about, as I said, that it is unleashing the true nature of our existence. Through whatever practice you do, whatever understanding you have about the practice and you do, these are just trying to remove those dirts through your mind and trying to help you to connect to your true nature, to make you understand that it is not only a body mind complex, it is beyond that. And body and minds are secondary components. And until that mind remains, unless you have that extreme purity of mind, it will never let you see the spirit which is behind it. The answer is very clear. Okay? So all the processes are going, trying to go beyond the mind to connect to your spirit, to reveal your spirit to yourself so you can connect to your true nature. It is not about creating calm, artificially creating a space of calm. And this calm is actually your true nature. This happiness is actually your true nature. Through all the process of meditation, you are trying to connect to your inner calm, which is already existing inside yourself. Okay, so with this understanding, I think there is an effort to answer your question that I am not satisfied with my meditation practice. You need to understand that meditation is not about stopping thoughts. It is more important to observe your thoughts and see from where they are coming. And you will see that they are deeply rooted to your attachments to your life, to different things and activities of your life. So you are running so fast in your life, you are doing so many things in your life, and still you just want your mind to be silent and not reflect those things. So that is just a too much expectation. That can only happen when you remain unattached to the things you are doing. So your thoughts will only decrease if your life reflects less. There are less things in your life which are about to reflect in the mind. Then only the number of thoughts is going to decrease. Next is this understanding that I think 99.9% people understand themselves as bodies and minds. So if you look at your life from your mind level, it's very difficult to understand your existence. You will always think about that why my life is a chaos, why my life is a mess, what is the problem of my life. You will never understand because something is beyond this complex, and that is the major dimension of our life which is controlling the other dimensions. And the whole teachings of spirituality is to understand that dimension or connect to that dimension which is beyond the body and mind. When you start living your life from that level, the things will change. You think that you are a human being, so you are a body mind complex, and some of you want to get a spiritual experience. The thing is just the opposite. You exist as a spiritual being Okay? And you are going through a human experience. You are going through a body mind experience. So, unless you start understanding this, everything will be topsy turvy. And this will not match your understanding that why this is happening with this, why this is happening with this. And finally, meditation is not creating an artificial space of calm or silence. It has nothing to do with those spaces of calm and silence. It is all the techniques of meditation, all the schools of meditation, everyone in different ways are actually trying to connect you to your true nature. And that true nature which is inside you is the calmness, is the happiness, is the peace, which is already existing inside you. And you don't need to artificially create. It is just, you have to just only unreveal and see through and connect and understand that who you are, what is your true nature. That is the whole process of meditation all about. I think with this little bit of understanding, it will be much easier for you to answer this question that I am not satisfied with my meditation practice. If you start understanding this, your whole perspective of looking at things will change. Your life will transform. If you actually start understanding the whole process, and this question itself will vanish, because something you are asking yourself, and maybe that question is not actually making a sense. The whole process of meditation is about connecting to your consciousness, which is your true nature. So I would like to end the session today here, and thank you for joining in this community meet of harmony, and hope I've been able to give you a little bit of insight into this teachings of spirituality and meditation. Thank you all for joining the session.